हरि ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः अद्वैतचिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतं वेल्कम् आल् ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणचक्षुश्रोत्रम् अथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु निराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So we are into the second pada, second Dvitiya Khanda of the Pradama Pada. The Upanishad started with the question, Keneshitam patati prekshitam manaha, kena prana pradama priti yuktaha, keneshitam vacham imam vadanti, chakshushrotram kau devo yunakti. To which the teacher answered, Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yat vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranaha, chakshusha chakshu adimucha dira, pretyasma lokat amrita bhavanti. Now having said this, he had to explain that when he said Shrotrasya Shrotam Manaso Manoit. So it looks like a riddle type. So to explain it, he says that Na tatra chakshur gacchati na vak gacchati no manaha tavidmaha na vijanimaha edadanushishyat. This is what is to be taught. Anya deva vidita tato avidita tati. But one thing we should understand that this is neither viditam nor aviditam. Neither it is known nor unknown. It is beyond the known and unknown. Anyat eva viditat ato aviditat adi. Adi means which is further to known and unknown. Iti shishruma purvesham yena statvacha. This is how we have been taught by our purvajas, our predecessors. Otherwise we do not know how to teach that. That is why then next 5 mantras had got yat manasa namanate yena hurmano matam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam nityam upasate. So he had given in this a indicative way into which one has to understand what is Brahma. So into the second khanda, there is the dialogue will be only for the first 2 lines. That the teacher says, Yadi manyase suvede debrameva binonam tvam vetta brahmano rupam yadasya tvam vedasya devashvataha nu mimamsyameva te manye vidita. This is where we are now. We have completed. So let us look into where we stopped into our explanations. So in this one, because this is where we stopped. Janishe Brahmano Rupam. So let us read the English part of it so that it will become slightly clearer for us. Yadi by chance manyase, you think, Suveda iti, I know Brahman well enough. If this is how this mantra started. Although the entity may be inscrutable, yet someone who is possessed of a real wisdom and who is free from defects may at some time comprehend it as it was heard of. So this is the apt student who has got the clear mind without any defects. Shravana samakale eva jnanam. As the teacher says, he absorbs it like a blotting paper, and even though the entity is inscrutable, for him, since he is free of defects, the statement, very statement, yat manasana manute yena ahur mano matam tadeva brahmatvam vitti nedam vididam upasate. If one such a statement is heard from the teacher, vidita tato avidita tati, if that statement is making sense, any of the statement is making sense for a clear mind without any defects, he absorbs it without any problem. Maybe at some time comprehend it as what it was heard of, but then there are some people, they may think it is as what the word has expressed it from the word, whereas someone else may not, but somebody else may not even understand what is this thing. It looks like all Greek and Latin to me, because it is the mind of the mind, ear of the ear, eye of the eye, all those things. How can even I understand that? Hence the teacher says with hesitation, yadi manyase suvededi, if you think, and it has been noticed that when it was declared, the person that is pursuing, this is what the Chandogya Upanishad, the 8th chapter, there is a dialogue between Prajapati and his two sons, Indra and Virojana. Ya akshani purushaha is what is being explained as a Brahman in the 8th chapter, and it is saying that it is immortal, fearless, tad abhayam, tad Brahma, is how it is being explained in that. Both of them are intelligent students. Both are sons of Prajapati only, Indra and Virojana. Indra is the king of the Devas, and Virojana is the king of the Asuras. Virojana, even though he was the son of Prajapati, scholar, he is also a scholar, like Ravana also was a scholar, and the king of them, and still owing to his natural defects. See, this is where the Adhikari Shravana Sakamakala eva jnanam. Even Indra was not an apt student, because what happened is that Virojana, the moment he heard it is the Purusha in the eye, he thought it is the physical eye, and saw his reflection in the eye of the other person, and he thought that it is the physical body which is being referred as the Brahman. Whereas Indra, the king of gods, who could not comprehend in the instructed once, twice and thrice, did at the 4th stage. So Indra, even though he also heard the same thing, because both of them went together, even though Indra also heard the same thing, halfway down when he was coming back, he had a doubt. How can it be this present? Because the body is going through decay, death and everything. So it cannot be definitely the Brahman which is being taught. If it is having the quality of, what is mentioned is, it is immortal, then it is not the body, the eye which is the person who I am seeing in the eye. And it cannot, fearless means is that state where there is no fear, because only when there is no second one, from the Diyad by Bhayam Bhavati, that happens. So Indra, knowing very well that this cannot be there, he returns for second time, he returns for the third time. Each time his defects gets removed by question, pariprasnena sevaya. By questioning the Prajapati, by the time Virojana has already returned and gone back. So it was only Indra and Prajapati. So when the questions were clarified, Prajapati doesn't answer it directly. He repeats the mantra again without any explanation. That is the toughest of the toughest gurus. He has no time to explain on all those things. So he repeated the same statement, but second time when Indra heard it, he had a different idea. He thought it is the mind. Like that it goes. third and the fourth stage, when his natural defects have been removed, realizes the Brahman that was spoken with the initial stage, what was the mantra was referring to as Brahma is a. In our ordinary life also, it is seen that disciples of having hearing from the same teacher, someone understands accurately, someone inaccurately, someone contrary, and someone nothing at all. That is why samshaya, ajnana samshaya, viparya. So these are all the three type of defects which is there in our understanding. What more one need to speak regard to the knowledge of the real nature of the self, which is beyond the senses. Atindriyatvad. This is not for the senses to comprehend, because vididam, all that is within the form of senses, it is vididam. Then what is not followable by the sense organs fall into the category of avididam, which is unknown. So it is beyond both, and known and unknown means senses have no role to play that, even to know or not to apprehend as something which I do not know. So it is beyond that. In this matter, indeed, all dialecticians, whether they believe in the existence or non-existence of the self, have got their misconceptions. So the other philosophers who have dependency on the words and not lakshanavacha, because for them the words itself has to stand for the object, not indicating. So such people are not able to, they get into misconception. Therefore the statement Brahman has been realized, Vedacha, Brahman has been realized, has been made with a firm conviction by the student when he says that Suvedeti. Still the teacher is apprehensive remark. If you think, etc., is to kindle the brain of the student, how convicted or how conviction has been helpful in his understanding, whether he is still convinced about it or not, is the way in which the teacher is asking that. If you think is appropriate view of the comprehension is difficult. Tvam Veta, if you know that you are Nunam, certainly Deharam Alpam Eva Abhi, it you very little you know, Brahmano Rupam. This is the way in which the teacher and the dialogue take place. So that is where the first akshepa comes from the opponent. Kim anekani brahmana rupani mahantyabhrakani cha yena aha dabram ityeva eva ityadi. Are there many forms of Brahman? Anekani Brahmana Rupani. Small and big. Mahanti and Bragani. Because of which it is a little form, very little form. Aha, Dabram eva tyadi. Samadhanam, he says, Acharya Shankara says, Bhadam means true. Yes, quite so. Anekani hi nama rupa upadi kritani brahmano rupani na swataha. Anekani, multitude, many are aspects of nama rupa upadi kritani, by the dependency on the name and the forms of the Brahman itself, which is used in the nama rupa, is the way it is anekani, no na swataha, not by itself. See, the water per se has no form, but when it becomes a river, stream, a wave or a cloud, anekani rupani bhavan, it is all water only, but in different names and forms. But by nature itself, water as a principle is not having any definite shape or form. Swatastu ashabdam asparsham arupam avyayam tadarasam nityam agandavachayat. In the Kenopanishad we studied it. Idi shabdadibihi saha rupani pradishyante. So made by the why the rupa, even though anekani is what our experience is, that na swataha, by in the nature of Brahman there is no nama or rupa, And this is exactly why the Kenopanishad, the mantra says, Ashabdam, it is not by words. Asparsham, it cannot be known by sparsha or touch. Arupam, it is not possible for visual formation. Avyayam, it doesn't go through any change. Tada arasam, it is not having any taste. Nityam, it is eternal. Agandavat, there is no smell for it also. Yet. This is how the Brahma has been described in the Kenopanishad. So there is an akshepa for it. There is an opposition for this by the opponent again says. Nanu ena eva dharmena yad rupyate tadeva tasya swarupam iti brahmano api ena visheshena nirupanam tadeva tasya swarupam syat. In the normal world, yena dharmena yad rupyate tadeva tasya swarupam iti. For example, anything which we are in the world, we have certain qualities. Dharma means adjuncts or qualities which is there for, which is seen, because of which that itself is become the swarupa. For example, the swarupa of fire is light and heat. So wherever light and heat is there, we say fire is there. So brahmano api yena visheshena nirupanam tadeva tasya swarupam syat. If this anekani rupani is upadikritam and you are telling that this is the qualifications of Brahman, is it not that is the swarupam of Brahma? And Ata Uchade also Chaitanyam, if we are considering Chaitanyam or the consciousness, is the Dharma, because that is how the mantra is being telling that Chaitanyam or the Chit Shakti of the Satchidananda Brahma, if that is the Swarupa, then we should take it that as the Brahma. Prithivyaadinam anyatamasya sarvesham viparinatanam va dharma na bhavati. Tada shrotriyanam andhakaranasya cha dharma na bhavati iti brahmana rupamiti brahma rupyate chaitanyena. So when it is Brahma is being nirupanam as a chaitanyam, it is because viparinitanam dharma na bhavati tatra. The shrotraadinam andhakaranadi dharma na bhavati. That there is, it's not possible. Na chachur gacchati, na vak gacchati, no manaha, na vidmaha, na vidanimaha. So there, all these negations are showing that andhakarnasya dharma nati. There is no, the qualifications are not based on the either external sense organs or internal sense organs. Therefore, Brahmana Rupam is to be Chaitanya only, the awareness on the consciousness only. Also, he is quoting the different Upanishads like Brihadaranya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad and Aitiriya Upanishad. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma is the Brihadaranya Upanishad. Brahma is Vijnanam and Anandam, consciousness and bliss. Vijnana Ghana Eva is again Brihadaranya Upanishad. Is a mass of consciousness or pure consciousness. Satya Jnanam Anandam Brahma is the Taittiriya Upanishad. It is Satyam, it is the truth, or it is the existence. Jnanam Anandam, knowledge and infinity is the nature of Brahma. Or Prajnanam Brahma, the awareness is Brahma. Idicha Brahmano Rupam Nirdishtam Srutishu. These are all the ways in which Brahma has been described in the various Shruti, various Upanishads. So that should be the Rupam with which Brahma should be known. It should be known as consciousness or Ananda or Vijnana. So is it not that one is to be understood? So for that, Shankaracharya says that Satyameva, it is right. Even though tat andhakarana dehendriya upadhi dwarena eva vijnanadi shabdaihi nirtishate. Even though it is there that Upanishads are talking about Satya Jnana Anandam Brahma, Prajnana Brahma, etc. They all are being indicative because andhakarana dehendriya upadhi dwarena eva vijnanadi shabdaihi nirtishate. For the listener to get an idea to cross over the dependency of the internal organ. What is being reflected on the internal organ, like, in the intellect and the mind, in the karana, deha, indriya, upadhi, all those instruments with which we know how to transact, in that whatever is being reflected, vidyanadi shabdaihi nirdishyate, tat anukarikatva देहादि वृद्धि संकोच चादिषु छेदादिषु नाशेषु च न स्वतः. All those things which is being mentioned by is getting destroyed when the dehadi vriddhi sankocha chedam, vriddhi growth, or decreasing in size, or even by bifurcation of the indriyas, or the mano buddhi ahankara, or the dehadi indriya, when nasheshu, when it happens, this what is being referred as antakarana dehadi upitra, which is the vijnanadi shabda, that is also cannot be comprehended anything further. That means the dependency will be coming on the physical body to know Brahman. Na swataha, it is not the nature of Brahman, by say, because Brahma has no dependency on the body. Swataha too, if you want to know what it is, the real nature of Brahman by its own nature, avijnadam vijanadam vijnanam avijanatam. This is the Kenopanishad mantra, the third mantra which is coming up. Avijnadam vijanadam vijnadam avijanatam. There is no way, if it is avijnadam, by not knowing, by not that which is known, you should know that it is unknown. Vijnadam avijanatam. But it is not that it cannot be understood. This is how we have to understand. What is known, it is not. And if that is the case, it cannot be understood. No, it is not that it is not understood. See, this is the very, very important mantra. If you can meditate upon that, you should be really crossing over. Avijnadam vijanadam. It cannot be known by any known means. Immediately then the question can come. If that is the case, then what is the point in something to, how should I know it? If it cannot be known and it remains unknown, avijnadam. Then vijnadam avijanadam. You should know it as it cannot be known. It cannot be known doesn't mean that it is not there. It cannot be understood. What does it say? Therefore, one should understand that whatever may be the antakarana dehendriya upadhi dwarena vijnanam adi shabdena, all those things which have been indicated is not the one which it is not going to make you know what is Brahman. It is with avidhi, viditat, aviditat, adi. It is beyond known and the unknown. Therefore, avijnadam vijanadam vijnanam ajanadam. Iti sthitam bhavishyati. Now, for example, if let us look at our own. If the way in which Ramana Maharshi asks, do you know who you are? We cannot say, yes, we know ourselves. Do you know? Then what is known, is definitely you are not known. You are not the one. Whatever idea we have about ourselves is under the category of known. And what is known has to be different from the knower. So, from that point of view, it is not that what is known. But at the same time, can you ever say that you do not know yourself? If you remove all the adjuncts or the qualification by which you can describe yourself is removed, yet can you say that at that time also you do not know yourself? you are there, or you exist, or you are experiencing yourself. You are knowing yourself, that you are. That knower which is knowing everything, and that whatever is known is not you, but you are the one which is knowing in the nature of pure being knowing. Yadasya Brahmano Rupam iti Purvena Sambandha. That is why now the Yadasya Brahmano Rupam, this is what is the nature of Brahma, is to be, connected with the previous statement. Na kevalam Adhyatma Upadi Parichinnasya Asya Brahmana Rupam Tvam Alpam Veda. Not limited by Adhyatma Upadi Parichinnas Asya Brahmana Rupam. We know ourselves as a knowledge or an awareness limited Parichinna, Atma Upadi, the self in us. Is what is Brahma Rupam, then you Alpam Veda. You know it only very little. You do not know really what is that Brahma's nature. Yatavi Adidevata Upadi Parichinnasya Yasya Brahmano Rupam Vedeshu Vetatvam Tadavi Nunam Dabrameva Vetam Idi Manyaha. I am thinking that even if you say that the divine nature which is present in the cosmos, in the totality of the experiences, as the nature of Brahman, Deveshu, in the divine forms, which cannot be grasped through our sense organs. That is why Adidevata Upadi Parichinnasya Deveshu Brahmano Rupam Veta Tvam. If you think that Tadavi Nunam Dabrameva means Nunam means Dabrameva Veta. Very little you know. Either at the individual level or at the cosmic level, if you know that you can see Brahman through this one, you are not understanding the Brahmano Rupam. Idi aham manye. This is how I know that. Yad adhyatmam yadavi vede deveshu tadapi cha upadi parichinnatvad dabratvad na nivartate. If that is that dabratvad na nivartate, because of that limitation, it cannot be removed, because upadi parichinnatvad. Because we are all using an upadi, either at the individual level or at the cosmic level, devas, deveshu, adhyatmam, yadyapi. Both the places, we are trying to locate the nature of Brahman through the upadis, or through the instruments in which Nama Rupa is appearing. It is not Nama Rupa, it is beyond the Nama Rupa, beyond the name and the forms. So if one has to understand that, even if you depend upon Upadi Parichinnam, that limitation of the instrument also, you think that you cannot imagine something which is without a name and form. Yattu Vidvaha Vidvastas Sarvopadi Vishesham Shantam Anantam Ekam Advaitam Bhumakyam Nityam Brahma. Yattu, what is indeed is that is Sarva Viditva Sarvopadi Visheshyam Vidvaha Vidvastat Sarvopadigatam. All the known instruments beyond that Vishesham is beyond. Vishesham means here is qualified by all the adjuncts which we are thinking, by which we think. Beyond that, Shantam, it is the nature of pure tranquility. Anandam is infinite in nature. Ekam is one. Advaitam, one without a second. Bhumakyam, known as Bhuma. Nityam Brahma, it is an eternal Brahma. न तत् सुवेद्यम् इति अभिप्रायः न तत् सुवेद्यम् इति अभिप्रायः that what is being mentioned as shantam anandam ekam advaitam bhumakyam nityam brahma na tat that is definitely not suvedyam cannot be grasped within our intellect idi abhiprayah this is the this is to be understood yatah evam atah nu tasmat manye adyapi mimamsyam vicharyam eva te tava brahma therefore atah nu tasmat manye I am very clear that I understand that adyapi even now mimamsyam means vicharyam eva you have to think about or you have to do a mananam on that a proper you cannot you cannot for here you can hear me no
आं महोदय इदानीं भग्नम् अभवत् इदानीं सम्यक् अस्ति
अस्तु एवम् आचार्योक्त शिष्यः एकान्ते उपविष्टः समाहितः सन् यदा उक्तम् आचार्येण आगम अर्थतो विचार्य तर्कता च निर्धार्य स्व अनुभवं कृत्वा आचार्य साकाशम् उपगम्य उवाच so after having told this by the acharya that vicharyameva you need to do mananam on this till as it is why shantam anandam ekam advitiyam bhumakyam nityam brahma on that you have to do vicharyam having heard that acharya ukta whatever has been told by the acharya shishya the disciple ekante upavishta it went into a solitude upavishta after having sat there samahitah san after controlling himself with the shanta udanta uparita all those shat sambati but using his that yada uktam acharyena the way in which acharya has described it agama artha vichara the words of the shruti which has been mentioned as what has been told by the shruti upanishad and analyzing that vicharya tarkatah by logic not only he is thinking about it he is also counter questioning within his own mind after that nirdharya nididhyasya when it becomes convicted about it or when that all the doubts and the apprehensions and defects have been removed swa anubhavam krutva having made that as his own aproksha anubhuti his own immediate experience krutva acharya sakasham upagamya then he goes back to the acharya and uvacha he said that he went back to the teacher after having nirdharya manye aham atha idanim viditam brahma aham manye I think atah idanim viditam brahmeti now I think I know brahma this is the statement he makes that so that what happens is that the teacher again says one more statement naham manye suvedeti no na vedeti vedacha yastadveda tadveda no na vedeti vedacha this is a very not only tongue twisting verse but also to understand this verse ordinary sanskrit is not enough you need to make a proper prose order of this verse to understand how it is to be understood first let me read the meaning of it aham na manye I do not think or I do not apprehend that Suveda iti, that I know it well. Na Veda iti, nor that I do not know. Vedacha, I know too also. I know it well. Yaha na, he among us, Tat Veda, who thinks that I know it, Tat Veda knows it well, maybe or not. Na Veda, maybe that he doesn't know. Vedacha, he knows too also. He knows or he doesn't know. It is very difficult to say. So the prose order is like this. Aham suveda iti, aham na manye, aham na veda iti, na u manye, vedacha, yaha naha tat vakyam, tat vadaha veda, saha tat veda iti cha. This is just a prose order. Now the prose order, which is being slightly modified using some more words added to it to make it meaningful. Aham suveda iti aham na manye. That is the aham suveda iti, that with aham na manye. Aham na veda iti na u manye. U means indeed. Aham na veda iti na manye. Aham veda na cha suveda. No na veda iti. Veda cha. Iti tat vakyam naha means asmakam. Manye veda. Yaha vedaha saha tat brahma veda. One who knows that, he knows the Brahman. So the meaning is like, I do not think thus, I know Brahman very well. Indeed, not thus, I do not know Brahman. I'm not saying that I know Brahman very well. At the same time, I cannot say that I do not know Brahman. I know and I do not know. One who knows among us, that statement like this, it is not that I do not know and thus I do not know. He knows that Brahman. The one who says that I do not know, that I don't know. So there is this knowing, and it is beyond the known and unknown is being explained exactly by this word. Vidita tato avidita tati, how the experience becomes to the one who has meditated upon that, and tarkena, madirapanena, all those things having done, when nirdharya, when it becomes nididhyasa, nischayatmika di, he will also not be able to say that I am no Brahman very well. At the same, he cannot say that I do not know Brahman. So it is neither viditam nor aviditam. And the one who knows among us, if he says that it is not that I do not know, I know it, means he is knowing it, that it cannot be known, but at the same time it cannot be known as an object outside. Katham iti shrunu. How it is? Listen. Na aham manye suvedeti. Na eva aham manye suvedi brahmeti. Na eva tarhi viditam tvaya brahme ityukte aha. Na, no means naha asmakam. Na vedeti vedacha. Vedacheti shabdat na vedacha. So what does it say? He is now, Acharya Shankara is breaking down these statements into typical, the logical way of understanding it. Na aham manye suvedeti. Not, I know that I aham manye suvedeti. I know it well is not what I'm saying. Na eva manye suveda brahmeti. Nor I am saying that I know Brahman very well. Naiva tarhi viditam tvaya brahma tyukta aha. So when it is not viditam, na tarhi, na eva tarhi. Tarhi means therefore. na eva viditam tvaya. If you have not understood Brahma ityukte aha, no na vedeti vedacha. Naha means among us, one who says na vedeti vedacha, I know and I do not know, veda cheticha, shabdat na vedacha. It is not by any expressive ways in which you can express that I know it. So if a question is asked to a Brahmajnani, do you know Brahman? He cannot answer that. How can he answer that? Because it is not something which can be explained by words. The words cannot explain the knowing of your own nature. When you are removed of all your qualifications, adjuncts, and even the individuality, you don't find anymore the individuality. Can you tell who you are? You cannot express it. Shabdat na vedacha.
Mahodaya, atra one more information is coming. No, yaha janati, saha na janati, yaha na janati, saha janati. Iti. Kalu?
Tat asti. Tad agre ayasiti.
Mahodaya.
Nanu vipratishetam naham manye suvedeti. It is not that naham manye suvedeti is vipratishetam, is being rejected. Nahana vedeti vedacha iti. Among us, na vedeti, no, do not know, but vedacha is knowing also. Yadi na manyase suvedeti, kadam manyase vedecha iti. Suppose yadi means if na manyase suvedeti, we say that do not know well. Kadam manyase vedacha. If you say that you do not know, how can such a person can again say that vedacha, I know it also. Ataha manyase veda eva iti. Kadam na manyase suvedeti. So if I'll read the English translation also, then only it will make sense for you. So that it is not that manyase veda iti. Kadam na manyase suvedeti. How can you say you do not know yourself or you do not know? Ekam vastu yena jnayate tena eva tadeva vastu nasu vijnayatah iti vipratishetam samshaya vipadyayo varjayitva. To understand something very well, there cannot be a negation with samshaya and vipadya by doubt or wrong knowledge. So that vastu only, that vastu eva, you can say you vijnatam suvijnayata iti. That only such a thing can be there where you do not have a doubt or a misconception. Having abandoned these two, when you say a vastu is known, then only you can positively say that without any viprashidishedam, negation, that you know that. Nacha brahma samshayidatvena neyam viparidatvena veti niyantum shakyam. This brahma cannot be apprehended with doubt or with the wrong knowledge, can never be understood. Samshaya vipadyayau hi sarvatra anarthakaratvenena eva prasiddhau. Because samshaya vipadya, the doubt and the wrong misapprehension, he indeed sarvatra anarthakarakatva is always the reason why the mistake is happening. The appearance of the snake on the rope is because samshaya, you did not know what is rope, and viparyaya, you thought it is a snake. Therefore sarvatra anarthakatvam, the mishap of the snake and the fear of the snake is only because of these two things. Eva prasiddha, this is very well known to all of us. Evam acharyena vichalyamanaha api shishyaha na vichachala. Even though the way in which him and trickled his mind and creating samshaya and viparyaya by the questioning. Do you know it very well, or do you not know it? Do you say you know it? That type of a question acharya is the way in which acharya has asked the student. Shishya na vichachala. The student did not deter from his conviction. Anyadeva tad vidita tato avidita tati. Such a student only can make a state. It is beyond anyat. Eva tad vidita tato avidita tati. It is beyond the known and beyond the unknown. Only a shishya who has got conviction in that can make such a statement. Iti acharya ukta agama sampradaya balat upapatti anubhava balat cha. Like acharya ukta, this is the way in which acharya has instructed it. Agama sampradaya balat, by the traditional way it has been passed on from the teacher to the student. That strength of that upapatti means is understanding it very well. Swa anubhava balat, by not only knowing it by hearing from the teacher, he also has gone into mimamsyameva vicharyam, where he did that in a solitude, where he went manana nididhyasanam, made it a swanubhava. Jagarja, he roared, or he proclaimed. Cha brahma vidyayam drida nishchayitam darshan atmanaha. That brahma vidya which is now possible had drida nishchayita is the permanent total conviction. Darshayan atmanaha is what shows the atma. Kadam ityuchade, how it is being explained. Yaha kinchit naha asmakam sabbrahmacharinam mantye tat maduktam vachanam tattvato vedaha saha tat brahma veda. Yaha kinchit naha asmakam, naha means asmakam, saha brahmacharinam madhye. Even if it little, one among us, tat maduktam vachanam, acharya yat vaktam uchanam vachanam muktam, tattvato vadaha, that has been understood properly. Saha tat brahma veda, only such a student has really understood Brahma. Kim punastat vachanam ityadaha nona vedeti vedacha. Among us na vedeti vedacha. He makes that I know it, but I cannot say I know it well, is the way the statement is made. Anyadeva tad vidita tato avidita tati ityuktam. Such a person, then only he, that really the meaning of the word anyadeva tad vidita tato avidita tati. Tadeva vastu anumana anubhavabhyam. Anumana means inference. Anubhavabhyam, by personal experience. Tadeva vastu, that Brahma is that object, logically and by personal experience. Samyojya, having merged these two. One is by the logic, and then logic and experience. When it is combined together, nishchidam vakyandarena, be through the words. Vakyandarena means even though it is not directly indicating that he has used the words. Naha na vedeti vedacha ityavochat. He is the one who makes the statement, I know it, but I cannot say I know it well. Ityavochat. Acharya buddhi sambhadartham manda buddhi grahana vyapohartham cha. Acharya buddhi sambhadartham. That logic with which Acharya has explained it. Manda buddhi grahana vyapohartham. For the dull intellect students, for them to know that it is possible, vyavohartam cha tadacha garjitam upavannam bhavati yo nas tadveda tadveda iti. He nas tadveda tadveda. So he is the one who is making that proclamation that I know it well. So I'll read through the English translation, but because I already explained it. Naham manye suvedeti. I do not think I know Brahman very well enough. Being told by the teacher, then Brahman is not certainly known by you. The disciple replies, na Veda iti Veda cha. Not that I do not know Brahman and I know too. Both cannot be said. From the use of the word cha and in the expression Veda cha, we are to understand that na Veda cha and I do not know as well. Then the teacher says, is it not contrary to say that I do not think I know Brahman well enough and I not that I do not know? I know and I do not know as well. Is a question when the teacher says, questions. If you do not consider I know well enough, then how can you consider I know too? The question will again come. If you say you know, how can you say no? If you say you do not know, how you say you do not know yourself? Again, if you consider I do not know, then why do you not consider I know well very enough? Again the question will become. So it is a trap between that with the moment when somebody says that I know Brahman. I realized it. Oh, it is not that way in which one has to understand. Leaving out the consideration, doubt and false knowledge, it is a contradiction to say that the very same thing which is known by a man is not well enough by him. Nor can a restrictive rule be laid down to the effect that Brahman is to be known as an object of doubt or false knowledge. For doubt and false knowledge are indeed everywhere known to be the causes of harm. Though the disciple was thus given a shaking by the teacher, he remained unmoved. That is where the conviction of the student is being shown. Moreover, revealing his own firm conviction in the knowledge of Brahman, he boldly declared that the strength derived from the traditional knowledge, agama, artha, as imparted by the teacher in the sentence, it is different from the known and is also above unknown. Vidita tato avidita tati. As also from the strength derived from the reasoning and personal realization. How did he declare? How means did he declare that is the being said, Yaha, anyone who, Naha, among us, among my co-disciples, Veda, knows knows in reality that that sentence uttered by me, he knows that Brahma, that Brahman. Then the teacher asked again, what again is your assertion? To this he answers, Nu na Veda idi Veda cha. Not that I do not know. I know and I do not know as well, both. With a view to showing this concurrence with the idea of the teacher and the counteracting and comprehension of the people of dull intellect, the disciple repeated with conviction in another language, not that I do not know, I know and I do not know as well. The very same thing which was presented in this sentence. It is different from the known and is above the unknown. Yet vidita tato avidita tati. In doing so, he associated with this his own inference and realization. Anumana, anubhava. Thus, the exclamation, he among us who understands that utterance knows that Brahman, becomes justifiable. Then only that statement, Noham Vedeti Tat Veda. This is how that mantra is concluded. Then the Upanishad stops the dialogue between the teacher and the student. Now the Upanishad is turning towards us, the listeners. Shishyacharya samvada pratinivrityau svena rupena shruti samasta samvadina nivrittam arthameva bodhayati. Stepping aside from the dialogue between the teacher and the taught, the Upanishad speaking for itself, presence in these words, Yastvam Veda, etc., the whole conclusion is arrived through a dialogue. Yastva Madam, Yasya Madam, Tasya Madam, Madam Yasya Na Vedasa, Avijnadam Vijaradam, Vijnadam Avijanadam. This we will take it in the next class, because this needs, it's a very important verse, just as the previous one. This also, this is not the dialogue between the teacher and the student. This, the Upanishad is addressing us as telling what is the reality. That is why the Vijnadam Avijanatam the Avijnadam Vijanatam Vijnadam Avijanatam, that aspect. Okay, any questions?
Mahodaya, were you in that one shloka where bhumakhya iti asit? Bhuma ityasya artah kaha tatra? Anvayah kaha?
Bhuma is apara namah Brahmasya.
Kimartham
Brahma is addressed as Bhuma in the 7th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad, when Narada, Sanat Kumara dialogues are going on. In that, towards the end, when Sanat Kumara explains Brahma as Bhuma, the meaning of Bhuma is also there, is Brahatva Deva, that vastness. Because na alpe sukhamasti bhumaiva sukham is the statement. Na alpe sukhamasti bhumaiva sukham. Bhuma is sukham, because na alpe sukhamasti, in the little there can never be a permanent happiness. The permanent happiness is known as Bhuma. That is how the statement comes in there.
So I think from this pointed focus that we have, this pointed, I guess, it should be Vistaraha Bhavet Tasya. May we see that it in its entirety iti. Prashah.
Right. Yes.
So he pointed focus only is getting us in this trouble iti.
Yeah, see, the beauty of Kenopanishad is that it is a direct advice from the Shruti, Upanishad, using a methodology which has been passed down by the generations for knowing the truth. And it is not only telling like a blind faith we should follow. It is tickling our brain to such an extent that we are forced to think in the line which Upanishad wants us to think. There is no other way. Because, see, if you look at the first pada, first Pradama Khanda, Yat manasana manute yena hurmano matam, all those things, tat vidita tato avidita tati. Now in the third mantra, avijnadam vijanadam vijnanam avijanatam. All these mantras are like riddles. And when riddles are there, that is the time when mananam is automatically being forced upon us. Even if we do not want to do manana, the process of mananam is enforced upon by the words of the Upanishad, because it is a quiz by nature itself, is not giving a direct answer, because that is the nature of Brahman. You cannot explain by words. Yato vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha. So how can the Upanishad also use the word directly, like the Brahmano Rupa? It cannot give a Brahma's Rupa directly. So it gives statements whereby we are forced into a manana, and then when we do enough manana or that, then nirdalya, it becomes a conviction in us that what the Upanishad is indicating towards, because the words cannot reach there. It can only show that this is that what it is being told. But it is not something which cannot be included in the unknown, because it is aviditat ati. It is beyond the unknown.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, Mahodaya. So this requires us to let go of all the concepts we have developed also so far.
Yeah.
And you say from time to time, let go of every memory since you were born. It requires that kind of practice too.
Right. And I always, whichever place I am discussing this, if somebody talks about an experience, I negate it. Because if you knew it as an experience, it cannot be what you are knowing. Because there was a knower beyond it.
True.
That experience is the knowledge. In knowing the knowledge, there is no experience. There is only being.
Yes.
Anything in the knowledge can be experienced. But knowing the knowledge cannot be an experience. It is a being. In that, when you are in that being, no words can come out. No concept can be thought in the mind. Nor can be denied that it doesn't exist. Because
being
you are
cannot be explained.
Full knowledge. Yeah?
That being cannot be explained.
Yes.
An experience
That being cannot be explained.
but the being...
So if there are no questions, I can stop. Anything else?
Bindaji, namaste. One quick question.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Srini. Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes,
this Kena has both Padabhashya and Vakya Bhashya, right? So this material, is it combination of both, or you're doing it?
No. This is I'm taking Padabhashya only. Padabhashya only.
Okay, fine. Bindaji, thanks.
Okay. I'll stop. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.